Have you ever found yourself staring out the window, wondering, is this really how the rest of my life is going to be? Quiet, empty, no phone calls, no visitors, just silence, and the weight of your thoughts echoing louder with every passing day. If you're over 60 and living alone, you're not alone in this feeling. In fact, a shocking 25 million seniors in the US live by themselves. And this is a silent epidemic rarely talked about, the feeling of being forgotten. But what if I told you that loneliness after retirement isn't your final chapter? What if it's the beginning of something entirely different and possibly more meaningful than you imagined? By the end of this video, you will find strength, peace, and even unexpected joy, even if you're living alone. Because I used to be right where you are, grappling with life after 60, and I found a way to make my life vibrant again. It's not your fault you feel this way. We're going to navigate this together. Let's begin with a profoundly moving comment left by someone named Patrick Foley, age 75. He didn't write a paragraph, just 5 words. At 75, no one ever calls me. No bitterness. No complaint, just the truth. And that truth is heavier than most people understand. In fact, it sparked over 30 replies. People saying, "I hear you, that's me too," or "I wish I could call you right now." This is the unspoken epidemic of aging, the deep, aching invisibility, the sense that no one sees you anymore, that your voice, your presence, your thoughts no longer matter in a world racing ahead. And yet, among all the comments under this video, one stood out like a lantern in the dark. It came from a woman named Jasmine Walker. "I'm 63 and never really had a companion. I've been lonely most of my life. I really want to experience this." She wasn't dramatic, she wasn't demanding. She was simply being honest. What she expressed is something many people never dare to say out loud: the desire to be loved, even late in life. Not for show, not for survival, just to be seen, heard, held. And that's what we're diving into today. What does it mean to live alone after 60, and how can we transform that aloneness into wisdom, inner peace, and even unexpected happiness? Because here's what we know. Life after 60 doesn't have to be a slow fading. It can be a season of soft revelation. Are you currently feeling like you can't find meaning? Let me share another true story, this one from a man named Richard Browning. He's 78 and commented, "I've been alone for 27 years, but I am not lonely. I have friends and keep busy. I've learned to be my best friend." That phrase, "learn to be my best friend," might just be the secret key. Richard's not lucky, he's wise. He's learned what many centenarians and elderly wellness researchers repeat. Your health, your mental health, your purpose, all begin inside. And we're going to walk that path together in this video. Because this is not just about surviving retirement or enduring solitude. It's about reframing life after 60 as a time to rediscover meaning, to pull back from the noise, to simplify, to reclaim your time, your body, your soul. In the next part, we'll break down how modern science supports that idea and how thousands of seniors have turned slow living into deep living. So, if you've ever whispered, "It's too late for me," stay. Because the quiet strength inside you has just begun to speak. Let me tell you about Connie, a 73-year-old woman who left one of the most candid and soul-stirring comments we've ever seen. She wrote, "I've had no one by my side for 73 years, so being alone isn't new to me. My parents ignored me. My marriage was a sham. My sisters ignore me. I'm almost deaf and don't relate to others. But you know what? I'm happy by myself. I talk to a neighbor occasionally, and that's enough." Connie didn't sugarcoat her pain, she didn't pretend to have it all figured out. But she said something most people miss. I'm happy by myself. That right there is the gold hidden inside solitude. It's not just about having people around. It's about being at peace with your own presence. You might be thinking, how is that even possible? The truth is, most of us were never taught how to be alone without feeling lonely. We were taught that silence is awkward, that stillness is unproductive, and that being single after 60 means failure. The media has lied to you about this. But people like Connie and Richard are rewriting that script. They've discovered what psychologists and spiritual leaders alike call the power of internal companionship. The ability to befriend your own mind, to stop judging your past, and to embrace your current season without shame. It's not about denying the sadness. It's about letting the sadness be part of your story, but not the whole story. And here's something beautiful. Many seniors, when given space to reflect, report finding new meaning in the quiet. They start noticing birds outside their window. They slow down when drinking tea. They reconnect with old memories. Not to dwell, but to honor. You see, living alone after 60 doesn't have to feel like exile. It can feel like arrival to yourself. One commenter put it perfectly. Sometimes the quietest moments are where we rediscover our strength and deepest peace. So, as we close part 1 of this story, I want to leave you with this thought. Maybe this chapter of your life is not about building anything new. Maybe it's about savoring what already is. The air, the light, the books on your shelf, the rhythm of your breath, the resilience that's kept you alive this long. That, my friend, is wisdom. That is elderly wisdom at its finest. And you carry it, whether you know it yet or not. In part 2, we'll explore the science behind this. Why loneliness feels physically painful. How to train your brain to find meaning. And practical, research-backed steps to turn isolation into inspiration. Stay with me. You matter. Your life still holds deep value, and it's never too late to rediscover it. The science behind loneliness and 5 life-changing solutions. After 60. So let's begin with the truth. Modern science confirms loneliness is not just an emotion, it's a health risk. According to a landmark study from Brigham Young University, chronic loneliness can increase your risk of premature death by up to 26%. That's the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Other studies from the National Institute on Aging link prolonged social isolation to higher rates of heart disease, cognitive decline, depression, and even Alzheimer's. Why is this happening? Because your brain treats social pain the same way it processes physical pain. When you feel isolated, your body reacts by triggering the same stress hormones as it would in danger. Cortisol spikes, blood pressure rises, immune function drops. It's your body crying out, I need connection to survive. But here's the good news. Even a few small, consistent changes can reverse these effects. It's not your fault you didn't know this. Let's walk through 5 practical, science-backed ways seniors have reclaimed their mental health, physical well-being, and a sense of meaning without needing a large social circle. Rebuild routine. Stability creates security. One of the biggest dangers of retirement is not the absence of people, but the absence of structure. When you lose your daily routine, no more work hours, kids, fixed responsibilities, your brain begins to drift. And that drifting often leads to feelings of uselessness or depression. What researchers suggest instead is to create a personal ritual. Morning walk at 7 a.m., tea and gratitude journaling at 9 a.m., stretching and movement at noon, a favorite hobby in the evening. Routine is especially powerful for elderly mental health because it gives your brain predictability, which reduces anxiety and supports emotional stability. Move every day. even for just 10 minutes. You've heard it before, but it's worth repeating. Motion is medicine. A Harvard Medical School review found that light daily activity in seniors lowered depression by 38%, improved memory, and boosted immune markers. We're not talking about intense exercise. We're talking a 15-minute walk around your block. Simple chair yoga, dancing in your kitchen to music from your youth. These activities increase serotonin, reduce inflammation, and improve sleep quality, essential for seniors living alone. Many seniors in the comments section mention their daily walks, gardening, or Tai Chi classes as life-to-saving habits. Practice micro-to-connection, not socializing, just noticing. You don't need deep friendships or large gatherings to feel connection. A recent Stanford study coined the term micro-to-connections, brief moments of shared humanity that can deeply impact emotional well-being. Examples: a wave and smile to your mail carrier, a brief chat with a grocery clerk, saying good morning to someone walking their dog. These 10 to second interactions signal to your brain, I exist, I matter, I am still part of society. One woman wrote, I go to the same cafe every Wednesday. I don't even speak, but they know my order, smile, and that makes my day. This is the quiet strength of slow living, building joy not in quantity of contact, but in quality of noticing. Shift the inner voice. You are not broken. Let's talk about something most people ignore. Your internal dialogue. What you say to yourself matters more than what anyone else says to you. Many seniors unconsciously carry thoughts like, I'm too old to start over. It's too late for me. No one cares about people like me. But let's pause. Are those facts? Or are they beliefs you've repeated so often they feel true? Here's a shift. Instead of saying, I'm alone, try saying, I'm discovering myself again. Instead of, it's too late, try, I've never had more wisdom than I do now. This isn't toxic positivity. This is neuroplasticity. Your brain rewiring itself based on repeated patterns. If you change the narrative, even slightly, your brain follows. Meaning equal mental health. According to psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. So what's your why now? Many seniors rediscover meaning by writing letters to grandchildren or their younger selves, learning a new hobby, woodworking, watercolor, even TikTok, volunteering once a month at local centers, starting a daily gratitude list. You don't need to change the world. You just need to wake up with something to care about. One commenter shared, I write one beautiful thing I notice each day. Yesterday it was how my cat blinks when I speak. Today it was the smell of toast. This is not silly. This is senior wisdom in action, choosing life moment by moment. In part 3, we'll explore 5 quiet habits from real seniors around the world who are living not just longer, but deeper lives after 60. If you've ever wondered how to find peace in solitude, how to transform retirement from an ending into a rebirth, stay with me. Your journey is just beginning. 5. Quiet habits for deep living after 60s. These aren't grand transformations. They're the little things that don't make headlines, but make life worth living. Let's explore 5 of these quiet habits and the real stories behind them. The 3 gratitudes morning ritual. At age 70, Mary Ellen shared that she begins each day by writing down 3 things she's grateful for. Some mornings I write hot coffee, my warm blanket, and the way my cat curled up next to me. Other days it's still breathing, still standing, still hopeful. This small practice isn't just sentimental, it's neurological rewiring. A 2021 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that seniors who practiced daily gratitude for just 21 days experienced 25% greater life satisfaction, lower depression scores, increased resilience during hardship. Gratitude is a form of elderly wisdom. It reminds us that while we may have lost much, we haven't lost everything. The evening reflection walk. Richard, 82, lives alone in a small countryside home. Every evening after dinner, he takes a slow 22-minute walk on the same dirt path behind his backyard. Sometimes I talk to myself, sometimes I just listen to the crickets. But I always ask, what went well today, and what can I let go of tonight? This habit creates mental closure. According to the Sleep Foundation, a gentle walk after dinner in seniors aids digestion, lowers cortisol, improves quality of sleep. But more than that, it's a chance to practice slow living. No screens, no agenda, just your breath and the day behind you. The companion journal. Writing to someone you miss. Many people living alone after 60 say that nights are the hardest. That's when the house gets too quiet. That's when old memories get loud. Marguerite, 76, found a healing ritual. She keeps a journal, not for herself, but to her late husband. I tell him what I planted in the garden. I tell him how my arthritis felt. I write what I wish I could say out loud. This habit isn't about grief, it's about connection across time. And science supports this. A study from Aging and Mental Health Journal shows that expressive journaling reduces feelings of loneliness and depression in older adults, especially when writing to loved ones who've passed. You don't have to write every day, just when your heart feels full or empty. The 5-minute favor. Staying useful. Staying Human Gene, 68, lives in a retirement condo. Once a week, he texts his younger neighbor, "Need anything from the store today?" Sometimes he brings back bananas, sometimes nothing. But the message always matters. It's not about helping them. It's about reminding myself I still matter to someone. Many seniors fear becoming irrelevant. But the truth is, we never stop wanting to give. We just forget how. That's where the 5-minute favor shines. Offer to check someone's mail. Water a neighbor's plant. Text a quote to your grandchild. According to University of Michigan research, small acts of giving improve cardiovascular health, pain management, emotional resilience in seniors. You don't need to make a difference. You just need to stay in motion, in kindness. The stillness window, doing nothing on purpose. Connie, 73, whom we met in part 1, has one of the most beautiful rituals I've ever read. Every morning she sits by the window, lights a candle, and just watches. No phone, no radio, no writing, just watching the world exist. Sometimes I stare at a bird's nest. Sometimes I just count my breaths. But for 10 minutes, I don't do anything. I just am. This isn't laziness, it's deep presence. The essence of wisdom most people miss. A meta-study in 2022 showed that just 10 minutes of intentional stillness each day can lower inflammation, reduce hospital admissions in seniors, improve clarity, and reduce anxiety. We live in a world that worships productivity, but seniors have earned the right to just be, and in doing so, remind the rest of us what living actually means. These 5 habits don't require money, or company, or perfect health. They ask only this, that you show up for yourself, that you give your days shape, that you remember your story is still unfolding. And that's the truth behind senior wisdom. It's not flashy, it's quiet, it's grounded, and it matters more now than ever. If you've tried any of these practices or want to start, comment below. I choose stillness. I send 5-minute favors, or share the habit that has helped you most. Your comment might be the gentle encouragement someone else needs today. Please share this video with your loved ones. You just help them find a path to more happiness, no longer feeling lonely when living alone after 60. There are small things, like adopting these habits, that can save your parents from feeling lost and empty. In Part 4, we'll meet seniors who've lost everything, yet still found joy. We'll explore how aging can break us and remake us, and how you can rise again with dignity, softness, and grace. So stay with me. The best parts of your life might still be ahead. Rising after loss, finding purpose again after 60. In this final part of the series, we're going deeper than routine or science. We're going into the soul of senior wisdom, through real stories of heartbreak and how people over 60 rebuilt from it. Curtis, age 66, the silence after the storm. Curtis retired last year. 2 months before, his wife of 42 years passed away. 2 weeks later, his mother died. I had spent my whole life building for them, my wife, my mom. Then suddenly, no one was left to witness my life. The silence was deafening. For 3 months, Curtis sat in the same kitchen, untouched. At some point, I realized if I'm still breathing, then there must still be something here for me. He began small, planting a garden they had always dreamed of, volunteering at a local school to read to children. Funny thing is, they saved me. Every time a kid said, "Read more, Mr. Curtis," I felt alive again. Deborah, age 72, relearning joy after losing her family. Deborah lost her husband to cancer. Her kids became distant, her old friends vanished. Grief changes you, but being forgotten changes you more. One night, she whispered to the dark, "God, if I'm still here, show me why." A few days later, she met a widow at the grocery store. Now they host porch evenings every week. Just a few women with tea and shared silence. That porch saved me. I didn't need therapy. I needed to be seen. Sometimes healing begins with one simple thing: to be witnessed. Ray, age 90, remembering love, choosing life. Ray lost his wife of 55 years, but he still smiles when he speaks of her. I tend a rose bush in her name. I still say good morning to her. At 91, Ray lives alone but never lonely. He journals, sends postcards to grandkids, and walks daily. The body gets old, but the heart can stay tender. You choose whether to become bitter or beautiful. Ray reminds us, living after loss isn't about forgetting, it's about choosing beauty in memory. Why do some seniors rise after loss, while others collapse? Psychologists say the difference lies in 3 things: meaning to making, seeing your story as bigger than the pain. I'm still here, that must mean something. Micro to purpose, a reason to wake up, however small, a plant, a note, a neighbor, a prayer. Gentle structure. Routine restores emotional safety. Predictability builds calm. Older adults don't need to find new meaning. They need to remember they've been carrying it all along. If you're grieving right now or feeling like your best days are behind you, here's a gentle guide. Acknowledge. Say aloud, "This hurts." Naming pain reduces its power. Anchor. Pick one tiny ritual each day. Light a candle. Breathe. Say a prayer. Ask for one witness. You don't need 10 friends. Just one person to say, "I see you." That's enough. Accept slowness. Healing isn't a race. At your age, slowness is sacred. Align with legacy. What stories still live in you? What do your grandchildren deserve to hear? Because if you're still here, your story isn't done. In Japan, there's a beautiful art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold. They believe the cracks make it more valuable, not less. And maybe that's you. Your grief, your pain, your quiet endurance, these aren't signs of weakness. They're the gold lines that show how deeply you've lived. So if today feels like too much, just breathe and whisper, "I'm still here." Then ask, "If I could love life again, where would I begin?" That question might just open the door. If this video touched something in you, please leave a comment below. I'm still here. I choose beauty over bitterness. I'm ready for my second spring. And if someone you know is grieving, please share this video with them, because healing rarely starts with a solution. It starts with a story. Thank you for walking this journey. Thank you for surviving. And thank you, truly, for carrying wisdom the world still needs. Your life matters, even now, especially now.